Ayo, Shalom.
Pour the wine and get the stress up off my mind. I'm just sitting back, press rewind. Block the news. Sent her a text, no reply. So tell my boys I love them. Yeah, some men committed suicide. But God's word got me looking for a paradise. This is hell, and life's a gamble. And yeah, we roll a pair of dice. Yeah, no tears. Yeah, I let them fall too many times. Real men who were kings. Yeah, could feel what's wrong with our kind. Yeah, and I'm trapped in a bind. Transgressions catching up from behind.
Real nigga roll call. I got ox across the globe, y'all. Doing what I'm supposed to.
See, I'm just doing fine. I'ma sip this glass of wine. Yeah, lay back and recline. This is genre called life. Don't judge me, I'm alive. On one condition: if you form and ain't against them, well I ain't formed. Been on my mission since my dream, like 2010ish. I'm about to cream just for the fences. I got the basics, mama taught me vision. So when I fly, I'ma glide on these critters. I want the Holy Land, they dishing inches. Something they ain't seen before. Spoke to the tree that glowed. So everything I know is let my people go. Red light, green light, hating gringos. Trying to keep me on my ass while I'ma eat, bro. I stay loyal to the truth while I'm an ego. And I'm sticking to the script cause that's my ego. Cause what I look like some kind of me-go. I got killers holding back into that sequel.
Real nigga roll call. I got ox across the globe, y'all. Doing what I'm supposed to. Get out your emotions.
See, I'm just doing fine. I'ma sip this glass of wine. Yeah, lay back and recline. This is genre called life. Don't judge me, I'm alright.
my remedy.
Gabar, MALAK. Man of faith.
If you woke up this morning and that's a victory, being of this world ain't did shit for me. Cause that's his story, not my history. Seeking the Father to get a sense of me. Got my mind on the kingdom, I see it vividly. Better guard your mind, protect your energy. Gotta cleave to your word, that's my remedy. Gotta cleave to your word, that's my remedy. Spirit of life got us stood on our feet. Don't be deceived, they got a heart full of deceit. We daily oppressed, so we mourn and we weep. Just a messenger, YHWH is God in my speech. We thankful just to make it through the weekend. Our honorable men, it's not in season. Demands of the world got us drowning in the deep end. Hear the good news, salvation close. No time to boast, gotta be humble and hope. Even the devil shake and tremble, knowing this time is short. Make sure that my election is sure, and every nation go bow with their heads to the floor. Ain't no time for setbacks, stay covered in these laws. If you woke up this morning and that's a victory, being of this world ain't did shit for me. Cause that's his story, not my history. Seeking the Father to get a sense of me. Got my mind on the kingdom, I see it vividly. Better guard your mind, protect your energy. Gotta cleave to your word, that's my remedy. Gotta cleave to your word, that's my remedy. You didn't lose that fight, you got the victory. You taught me to love myself inwardly. My heart stopped, that was a C-section delivery. My memories of you, yeah, I got galleries. Your last days, cherish every moment. Every spirit gotta leave and pass over. No more crooked doctors and cold shoulders. Overcome this world, physician with lies. Toss that dirt on you, give me the reason to try. YHWH give you wings now, teach me to fly. I can't forget that last tear coming down your eyes. This body just a shell, it's what's dwelling inside. One day at a time, I'ma take it with strides. If you woke up this morning and that's a victory, being of this world ain't did shit for me. Cause that's his story, not my history. Seeking the Father to get a sense of me. Got my mind on the kingdom, I see it vividly. Better guard your mind, protect your energy. Gotta cleave to your word, that's my remedy. Gotta cleave to your word, that's my remedy.
Bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me. Bless his holy name. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget not all his benefits, who forgiveth all thine iniquities, who healeth all thy diseases, who redeemeth thy life from destruction, who crowneth thee with loving kindness and tender mercies, who satisfieth thy mouth with good things, so that thy youth is renewed like the eagles.
Things that I endure feel like they damn near killed me. And I lived it dolo, I don't want nobody near me. Broken hearted hearing that my brother pleading guilty. Just another circumstance, a world so filthy. KB got pinched the fence, said that he was out of bounds. Handful of charity for him, there was not a sound. Acting out in school, parents beefing, father's not around. If you dream to fly high, the hood niggas shot you down. Lord, give me strength, I've been patient and I'm waiting. Through the wiles of the devil, I've been battling with Satan. I said, let it to my sons, give you something that'll bless your soul. Patience is a virtue, value close, and it's next to gold. Plan to reach the hoods that's close to us, even Mexico. If you take this oath, it ain't no flaking, we gon' step for show. Father, see my enemies surround me, would you bless my soul? Father, see my enemies surround me, would you bless my soul? Making me great, just endure the bumpy heroes, no need for making mistakes. If we step across the world and it possess you to hate, then you a coward in the cut and couldn't step with the apes. We came from facing our fears many years before puberty. Warfare erupted from the smoke, I told him you and me. As you can see, we trying to build us a legacy to mold our sons into a different kind of pedigree. We defied the fact that life is over from a felony. Praise ye the Lord, won't you sing a holy melody? Living miracles, sparking slander and sparking jealousy. Gotta stand up manfully and move with zealousy. Unmerited favor, that's what all of us got. And none of us know the end, cause we ain't calling the shots. So we flooding the blocks, the goal is giving them hope to reverse the sting of death, and we breaking the yoke. The yoke.
Vinyl genius. Wish I had Keep Sweat in the background, cause I'ma sweat on this one. I discern you remember that night in McCullough Park. Spoke to you, Lord, show me your face, show me who you are. I can endure the pain, trust. Look at all these scars, even pops withering away. I pour all my heart. Moms can't deal with me cause I chose all the wrong instead of right. Just wanna vibe, so have you heard of me? You open my eyes and I need surgery. I make me sick cause I felt you all the way. Was never atheist. These pages exit Jesus, I had to exit Jesus. Black man in America, yeah, you best believe it. Sounded hella Greekish, so when I saw your burnt feet, I could imagine Peter's. Chanel braided this woolly hair with melanated fingers. Gotta escape the preachers, find the ancient teachers. Endow me, please, with wisdom, Lord, from the gated kingdom. The one and only YHWH, yes, you gave me freedom. I'm on my exegesis. Every page I flip, eyes got smoke, tear to a drip. Lord, I'm up, thug to a prince. What am I holding? Who found me here when I was broke? Every page I flip, eyes got smoke, tear to a drip. Lord, I'm open, thug to a prince. What am I holding? Who found me here when I was broke? Yeah, salvation in Matthew 24. Swing chariot, swing low. Spreading light through the world on a couple primos. On my exegesis, niggas, I ain't Negro. I'm your chosen, felt it back and I'm eating cheese flow. Turn the mic up, turn they hype up, let the people go. Cause know this gospel here reveals y'all evils. Threw off that rock and wear clear. No fooling me, oh, how about they know us? They hit us and choked us from the life we own once. So I spit like locusts, cause when you tied them ropes up and you had your hopes up, Yahweh looked down on us. Our power, that gold dust, your tower X'd in old dust. Like the ancient Egypt, can't you see your paraplegic heresies and fantasies? Izrio, that canopy. And the ironic thing, nigga, I still can't believe. I still can't believe. Exegesis. Every page I flip, eyes got smoke, tear to a drip. Lord, I'm on, thug to a prince. What am I holding? Who found me here when I was broke? Every page I flip, eyes got smoke, tear to a drip. Lord, I'm on, thug to a prince. What am I holding? Who found me here when I was broke? Every page I flip, eyes got smoke, tear to a drip. Lord, I'm on, thug to a prince. What am I holding? Who found me here when I was broke? Every page I flip, eyes got smoke, tear to a drip. Lord, I'm open, thug to a prince. What am I holding? Who found me here when I was broke?
You believe in God?
Yo, why the fuck y'all get so damn religionified lately?
Man, look, do I believe in God? Yeah, I guess I do. How else can you have the sun, the moon, and the stars and shit like that?
Sun, moon, stars, quasars, motherfuckers sound like they're wood checks. Ain't no God.
When will it stop?
Okay.
Another dead Jake from a cop. Another fiend came through the cop. Another deadlock. Another 8-ball in the sock. Another crime scene on Fox. How did this begin? How was so right just to sin? Hear all my thoughts through the pen. The sorrows of men. When you can't go see your kid. Got no food in the fridge. Is this what life is? Blowing out your pain through a cig. Behind all the bills in the crib. Searching for a light. But it's so dark at night. Walk through the blocks with a knife. Roaches and mice, locked up, never get a kite. Come to serve the Lord, better fight. Battle in your mind, hunger paid equate to a crime. Looking all around for a sign. Living in the time where you can't even trust your mom. Rumors of wars, drop bombs, needles, white lines. Christ be the only lifeline. Everything is all by the sign. Leave it all behind. If I shine, nigga, you shine. If I shine, nigga, you shine.
If I shine, nigga, you shine. If I shine, nigga, you shine. Deeply rooted, bearing fruits of the spirit. Lift my voice, hoping you gon' hear it. I'm in the spirit, you can't kill my vibes. I'm in the spirit, you can't kill my vibes. And if I fall, still I rise. And if I fall, still I rise. And if I fall, still I rise. And if I fall, still I rise.
And I can't question your mercy. That's above the wonders of the sky. And I know through what I've seen, without a doubt you are alive.
They say be careful of the angels you entertain unaware. Words out the book of life seem like the thunder here. Thankful for the time now, just to see another year. It's a different type of feeling when you see your brother cheer. Cause we been through the madness, we done seen each other's tears, Lord knows. Through the furnace of adversities, my enemies conspiring and dreaming of them hurting me. Enemies conspiring and dreaming of them hurting me. This is not the battle of flesh and blood. No one seen the judgment. He ain't step up out the ark to check the flood. Sworn under an oath in the Most High's covenant. Live by the creed. All these prophets been my brothers since. Still I rise as the world is scorched. As they torture my ancestors made of me poor. The last days on its way, so we gon' overcome. Only Christ could determine when a soldier's done, yeah.
Deeply rooted, bearing fruits of the spirit. Lift my voice, hoping you gon' hear it. I'm in the spirit, you can't kill my vibes. I'm in the spirit, you can't kill my vibes. And if I fall, still I rise. And if I fall, still I rise. And if I fall, still I rise. And if I fall, still I rise.
And I can't question your mercy. That's above the wonders of the sky. And I know through what I've seen, without a doubt you are alive.
Yeah. Trying hard not to complicate these verses. Soul searching, know these demons out here lurking. Where's your purpose? Cut the grass, see the serpents. Feel the curses, know the devil out here working. Close the curtains, one thing is for certain. We all die one day, but does your soul live? And will he forgive? Only Lord knows this. Tell these clowns settle down, we around. Paint the town red for my ancestors' blood. From the bloodline of Judah, cause my ancestors was. Me and the general, souls identical. Gold flow spiritual, oh so lyrical. Really not your typical Joseph in the physical, Gabar from KC. Indians and Chiefs, ride for my people, we the sons of Maccabees. Open up Pandora's box and had to take a peek. No faith without works, you gon' have to take the leap. We the lost sheep from Jerusalem, we weak. Got bros still asleep, I pray for the weak and build with the strong. Just talk to my cuz, he got a lot going on. I told him keep his head up, he just going through a storm. Our family's been torn apart by the drugs. Heart full of slugs, left his mark in the mud. I wish the love, surrounded by the hate. Made it this far by faith, mercy and grace. Yeah. Made it this far by faith, mercy, and grace.
Deeply rooted, bearing fruits of the spirit. Lift my voice, hoping you gon' hear it. I'm in the spirit, you can't kill my vibes. I'm in the spirit, you can't kill my vibes. And if I fall, still I rise. And if I fall, still I rise. And if I fall, still I rise. And if I fall, still I rise.
And I can't question your mercy. that's above the wonders of the sky. And I know through what I've seen, without a doubt you are alive.
Yeah. Yeah. When you see some light, that's a breakthrough. Concrete jungle, it's a damn zoo. Eyes wide, while they live on snooze. I hope in what you touch impact some souls. Picture perfect, nigga, like a centerfold. I'm all about my bread, that's the dinner roll. Do it on my lonely, you can send the word. I remember drinking until my speech was slurred. But karma is the bitch, you better treat it right. It's power in these thoughts, she gave me mic. But this your life, nigga roll the dice. Eviction notice, try not to notice. But through your ups and downs, trying to find your purpose. Girded in this truth, blocking evil forces. Good intentions, create your invention. No huddle, fourth and inches. Keep on trying, heart of a lion. Keep on climbing on your way to Zion. Highs and lows, no time to fold. Since the snotty nose, I've been kinda bold. Keep on trying, heart of a lion. Keep on climbing on my way to Zion. Highs and lows, no time to fold. But since the snotty nose, I've been kinda bold. You headed to them streets, trying to fill the void. Trying to box with God, trying to win our floor. All these traps, gotta count the joy. I lift my voice up like a trumpet though. Wash away these sins and these transgressions. Change your outlook, that's your only weapon. But we the black jewels, these is mental jewels. Trying to set a pace while they drive on cruise. Can't trust they action, they intent is cruel. I'm from a sunny place where it's shady people. Erase your history, and they say we equal. Do your all in this world, they make you feeble. Built these corporations, look how they treat you. Get up on your grind, I'm thinking ownership. I know your past mistakes equate to something better. He give visions to the blind, Helen Keller. Keep on trying, heart of a lion. Keep on climbing on your way to Zion. Highs and lows, no time to fold. Since the snotty nose, I've been kinda bold. Keep on trying, heart of a lion. Keep on climbing on my way to Zion. Highs and lows, no time to fold. But since the snotty nose, I've been kinda bold. lessons. Losing ain't an option. Waiting on my blessings. Turn my failures to lessons. Losing ain't an option. Waiting on my blessings. I'm crying out, can't hold it in. Gotta stay the course, we supposed to win. Done seen it all, it's time to prosper. Elevate, it's time to prosper. The world at your neck like a violin. Instruments of cruelty gon' be the end. Satan gon' knock, but don't let him in. We born in a battle that'll never cease. I believe, I believe, I believe. I believe, I believe, I believe. We got our dreaming projects full of broken hearts. Picking up the pieces, this is just a start. Somewhere there's a flower trying to bloom out the concrete. I left a trail full of dry petals, trying to spark the mind and not the barrel. If I can't smell, I won't like blush. Things of the world don't entice us. If she loyal, God-fearing, then you wife her. We the chosen, you can't sign her. World for the meek, this is all us. Earth having labor pains, soon it's a due day. Yeah. Earth having labor pains, soon it's a due day. Yeah. Gotta keep the faith, cause that's all we got. Gotta keep holding on. Endure till the chariots dry. You're not alone, keep staying strong. Gotta keep the faith, cause that's all we got. Gotta keep holding on. Endure till the chariots dry. You're not alone, keep staying strong. Gotta keep the faith, stay on fire, never cease. Holding on with a peace while he tryna find peace. Saved by hope, tryna see the broader scope. We was washed by the word, and I ain't talk about so. Steadfast to the end, don't break, never bend. Gotta have works, are you dead? We labor for love, be strong, send my prayers above. We come from kings, but they told us we thugs. Used to look at my brother with mugs, now I greet him with hug. Gotta endure, even know that we been through enough. We got chosen when they doubted us. Most high open doors when it ain't adding up. Believing in the faith is what we stand on. Rhythm of my life, singing in the same song. Pray without season, run this race without wheezing. Keep believing our salvation nearer than we thinking. Gotta keep the faith, cause that's all we got. Gotta keep holding on. Endure till the chariots dry. You're not alone, keep staying strong. Gotta keep the faith, cause that's all we got. Gotta keep holding on. Endure till the chariots dry. You're not alone, keep staying strong. Gotta have patience and endure it in these last days. An early death when you living in that fast lane. Pressing towards the mark, pushing well beyond pain. We one body, but we focus on the same thing. Iron sharpen iron until we get it right. Keep my faith strong, seeing things that's out of sight. Contending for the faith, we all brothers, we ain't gotta fight. Let your light shine, giving vision to the next. Renewal on my mind, giving all my best. Gotta know that this life is just a test. Live up in the spirit, not the flesh. Stood up on my feet, got wisdom in my breath. Warrior mindset, I'm a servant of the Lord. Gotta keep the faith, cause that's all we got. Gotta keep holding on. Endure till the chariots dry. You're not alone, keep staying strong. Gotta keep the faith, cause that's all we got. Gotta keep holding on. Endure till the chariots dry. You're not alone, keep staying strong.
That's the bad guy.
We look for a new heaven and earth wherein dwelleth righteousness. Bring me to the river Jordan. Look, as a man thinks, then so is he. Prime examples led me to the terms of what I see. Look at me, kicking back, reflecting in the cloud, wailing in my tears, and so much so that I could drown. The class clown, first in any smoke that's going down. My father told me, nigga, you're hard-headed. I know now. Keep me, Lord, cause I feel that I cannot continue. And I've carried scars from watching just what all my friends do. Talk about this shit in all my music, cause it mean a lot. 5 years, fed time, it flew by, didn't seem a lot. Ever had time stolen from you and couldn't see a clock? But danger made us cautious, so we went to go retrieve a Glock. Moved me from a hood, but I'm still stuck with all the memories. Plus I ain't escaped the generation of my enemies. Please expose the hand of all these niggas that pretend to be, and raise your right hand with show glass if you feeling me. Take me to the other side of the river Jordan, cause here we celebrate coming home, but when we scoring, bring me to a land that's plenteous in milk and honey, where niggas don't obsess about hitting licks and loving money. Shit, let us see a place where death will lose its vicious sting, so we don't see our loved ones in the vision of a dream. Amen. Let us see the day where we kings and we running government, cause babies have no fathers in this land, nobody loving them. Woke up in the night, I'm wondering if this gon' carry on, but answering myself that life's elite and it's a marathon. I dream for better days, but then my dreams, they go away, cause if they had the capability, then I'll go cold today. Help us, Lord, hear a man's cry and hear his prayer, cause if we crashed and burned this wicked world, they wouldn't care. We taught that paradise is a place you go when you die, but I'm trying to experience paradise while I live. Take me to the other side of Jordan, let my sins run down as I cross. Bring me to a place that's beautiful, and I can raise my tribe and be saved from the perils of danger. Praise the Lord. Let us make it to the other side. And here, well done, my servant. Yeah.
That's a bad guy.
I keep on striving for a better way of life. The devil's disguising the earth in turmoil and in strife. We are surviving, looking for the better days. Lord, protect our life, guide us closer to your light. He that endureth to the end, same shall be saved. I'm trying to run this race, I'm trying to finish in first place, and here, well done my servant, oh. Rip me out my chains, cause I don't wanna be here. Thankful to the Father, I got eyes so I can see clear. Taught us that the sickness we inherit is hereditary. Reputation could be passed down to make us legendary. Seems as if the strong could bear the burden and we never weary. But the thoughts that cross my mind in real time is hella scary. When you die and meet your demise, they say you viraled in. But on the earth there's no checking in when niggas spiraling. The therapy the music tend to give us with the slightest pin, or make the wind feel less destructive when we surviving it. I only enter into this music to remind you, with hopes and wishes that this light I'm vibing with finds you. And even when the shade is great, push through, motherfucker, and shine through, cause we the hope and the elect. I'm talking times two. We the hope, we the elect. I'm talking times two. And when it's all said and done, it's only you in a dark place. They tried to eradicate the whole dog race. They took the earth by a hand and ripped the crown off the heads of the ones that own this land. And then they made a brand. They put cement over the bones and made businesses. And then they told us this was our home. And then they tried to replicate our religion and made it a clone. And then they told us we was wicked, but if we bowed to white Jesus, somehow we would receive forgiveness. Seeing the presence of our fathers on the top of all our wish lists. And even used shoes was wrapped and presented to us as gifted. We believed in a wooden cross. When we seen black stars on television, we stood in awe. Niggas that chop your legs down and ask how couldn't y'all. Anger misplaced for opportunity, then who wouldn't brawl? If it's all love, then why you niggas break your treaty? The hood ain't a place that's known to comfort, uplift the needy. But I got a shepherd in the valley and he leads me. When we get blessed, then it's true that we all eat. We come from the colleges and churches, some of us all street. Salvation, everything, my life is what it costs me. Warring against negative forces, get them off me. Standing on business, nigga, I'm on top of the ship. Battlefield uncertain, so I'm clutching the grip. I'm a warrior, never let my heart turn weak. Never let my pride triumph over the side of me that's meek. We the people of the creek, from the plains of the savannah, passed down oral history. The sister of my grandma, know that they witnessed the recollection and they can't stand you. We striving for a better day, more opportunities like better work and better pay, to live in liberty and know the Lord, not the devil's way. If you understand, rock to this, let the letter play, cause the doors are open, so you know we seek a better way, striving for a better life.
He that endureth to the end, the same shall be saved. I'm trying to run this race. I'm trying to finish in first place. And here, well done, my servant. Well done, my servant. Oh.
All right. Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Let's see if this works. All right. So it looks like we're going to have to do this both ways. If you guys would like, the presentation is on the channel. It's going to be a slideshow. All right. Now that everyone can hear me, tonight's class, the elucidation of the lunar Sabbath, as all of you can see, the word elucidate means to clarify. The word elucidate means to clarify and to make clear and concise to where it is understood. And also, I want to add in to the point where there are no questions and no room for confusion and misunderstanding. All right. So, with that being said, I want to make clear. Where is that? All right, there we go. All right, so with that being said, I want to make clear that with tonight's presentation, I'm going to put it up. Tonight's presentation, all of you, please take notes, pay close attention, and most importantly, please note that tonight is in addition to all the Lunar Sabbath classes that we've already been going into as of recent, and is with all of the Lunar Sabbath classes entailed within the playlist that everything that has been gone over. This is just an addition to it to make things more concise and clear, and for also doctrinal purposes so that everything may be established according to how we keep the Lunar Sabbath here within the school. All right, so without further ado, this is the elucidation of the Lunar Sabbath. Tonight is August 1st. Luminaries in the heavens, God in the beginning had established the evening and the morning were the first day. Sunset or the evening tide were the beginning and start of the day. Life, the day, and even going into the state of slumber to awake the next morning reflect God's divine creation. Everything begins and ends with darkness. Black is at the ultimate and final color of the end of the color spectrum. So when we sleep and close our eyes, we see darkness, and when we pass away and the spirit yields, the same happens. When the child is fashioned in the womb, it's from darkness. When the day begins, the sun arises and shines in its place, ascending through the week, ascending through the peak of the day, and then descends as the day goes on. It's the times when we cease from our labors and activities in our bodies chemically and neurologically prepare us for rest to ease into the night. Hence why after a day's worth of work, we begin to yawn, we begin to ease up, we begin to, decline more to relax and ease as the evening, more so goes on, preparing for bed, so on and so forth throughout the rest of the day. Continuing, the reasoning for the day starting at sunset is because of the new moon, ruling in the night time, beginning with the sun going down, also known as dusk. Multiple scriptures dictate and point to the new moon not only beginning the month, but the scriptures obviously and obliviously protrude to a lunar calendar being followed and indicated in the Bible by the Israelite nation. With the presentation and forthcoming precepts, the word declares and shows how a lunar calendar is followed and kept within the Mosaic law. I'm also paying attention to the chat, and for those in here that have any questions or concerns, please ask. Do not feel uncomfortable. I'm also noting and have noted everything down within the presentation, so if there's any comments, anything anyone wants to add, feel free to ask and do so within the comments or inside class here. Please do so. Next slide. The scriptural outline from the very beginning. Genesis chapter 1 and verse 14 to verse 15. And God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years. Verse 15. And let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth, and it was so. Now, here's what we need to understand about this, with this being established and spoken of since the very beginning of time. I wanted to make it much more concise and clear, hence why I use the word elucidation. I'm going to elucidate this more clearly so that everyone is on the same page and we're all following on one accord to the same thing, being the lunar Sabbath. The New International Version says, and God said, let there be lights in the vault of the sky to separate the day from the night, and let them serve as signs to mark sacred times and days and years. God's Word translation says, then God said, let there be lights in the sky to separate the day from the night. They will be signs and will mark religious festivals, days, and years. And then the last one, slide 4, if you guys can't see it. The last one, the GNT, the Good News Translation, it says, then God commanded, let lights appear in the sky to separate day from night and to show the time when days, years, and religious festivals begin. So again, in this understanding, the luminaries up above that we see every single day, the reason why the moon goes from new moon to new moon and why it's mentioned so much within the scriptures is because of the heavenly importance instituted from the very beginning of time to protrude and show that the luminaries up above, being the sun, the moon, and the stars, are to dictate and show us the times and the seasons accordingly. The reason why this scripture is highlighted in emphasis, and I put the red so that it's kind of clear, more colorly, is for all of us to know and understand these luminaries were created not for us to just see, but observe, because when it's day rise, when it's sunset, when it's nighttime, and the divisions of times, we know what to do accordingly to the season of time of everything that it is within every day that goes by. All right, the moon. The moon sets forth the time and standard of times, when things begin and end, and when they start and finish. This was established from the beginning. Keep in mind, Genesis is the Lord and the powers and authorities creating everything within the first chapter of Genesis. That's what we have to understand. This was established from the beginning. This is not man-made or humanly ordained. We are to observe the luminaries up above because this was an institution created by the heavenly powers and authorities that set them forth for human life that was to be created forward reading within the chapter. This is also a decree set forth by the Lord. We are to obey it and follow it. This is without question. Now, we're going to cite more scriptures, and we're going to get the authoritativeness of the scriptures as to why we are to keep and follow after luminary heavenly observation and follow after them. Psalms chapter 8 and verse 3 to verse 4. When I consider thy heavens, the work of thy fingers, the moon and the stars which thou hast ordained. Verse 4, what is man that thou art mindful of him, and the son of man that thou visitest him? Does anyone know why in verse 4, does anyone know why in verse 4, David asks, why are you mindful of man that you created? In verse 4, why did David ask, why are you mindful of man that you created? Those in the chat, those in here can answer. If you don't know, just say you don't know. Honesty is the best policy. Why did David ask in verse 4 of Psalms 8, why is God mindful of man that he also visited him? Why is David asking this? Psalm 8 and 4. Please pay attention. The slideshow is on YouTube. Pull it up on your phones. That way you're able to follow along. Quash said, because of all things created wonderfully and craftily, why man of creations is he dealing with so attentively, and he's in the spirit of gratification. Come, Bukwash. Yashar said, because of the attention put on man out of all things created. Yashar, not necessarily. Not necessarily. Is there anyone else? We've got 27 people in the chat. I know these aren't the only two brothers that could give an answer. Please be attentive in the class because this lesson is very important in regards to one of the most heavily debated and controversial doctrines that Israelites go back and forth about. This is very important that we all understand. This presentation is not just precepts and statements and points being made. This is for us to understand why we have the lunar calendar and why we're keeping it the way that we are. This is a very important lesson. Please pay attention and please be attentive because it's controversial as it says. And again, this being heavily debated within the community, it is important that we understand why we keep this calendar. Allah said he's looking at the vast and glorious creation the Most High made, showing gratitude that he made the Sabbath for man. Absolutely. On point and excellent answer. I'm going to add to the officer Mayaka Allah's answer and say the reason why David is asking this is because he's showing gratitude within what it is that he's asking. He's asking, why does the Most High consider us in his decisions? Jody, I'm glad you said that because that's exactly what the answer is. The reason why God was mindful was because he did the work for you so that you wouldn't have to do it yourself. When it says, why is God being mindful? God considered us in his creation, which makes it easier for us to keep this calendar the way that we do because he made it for us to follow it. He gave you luminaries that you can see with one of your five senses being sight so that you can see what he made and created for you. So it's easier for you to follow what it is that he made for you and everything that's being outlined within the scriptures that we're reading about now. Jody has the best answer because the Most High considered us in his decisions of what it was he was creating, so that way everything when we're here is easier. God didn't make us to lead and have hard lives. Everything being here that we're reading in Genesis is for the whole and sole purpose of our lives being easier as it's meant to be instead of more difficult. Khan Yashar, he remembered us, or I like that. I like to say he had us in mind when everything was being created. That's the reason why we have the luminaries. When sunlight rises, we know to go to work. We get up, we start our mornings. When it's sundown at some point in the day, when the shift is over with work, We as humans, we are diurnal beings, meaning we're more active during the day and we're less active at night. Um, and in doing so, the Lord had set and created forth this cycle so that we are able to function and operate accordingly. That's why when we have a Sabbath, it's a day of rest. Mayasha, because he is so far above us and does not need to do so. Panah, absolutely. So the next scripture, Psalm chapter 136 and verse 9, the moon and stars to rule by night, for his mercy endureth forever. And in Psalm chapter 148 and verse 3 and verse 6, it says, praise ye him, sun and moon. Praise him, all ye stars of the light. He hath also established them forever and ever. He hath made a decree which shall not pass. The last part of Psalm chapter 148 and verse 6 is very important. The luminaries were established to be observed and followed because this is the decree he had set forth from the very beginning of time, which is why the previous slide emphasized Genesis 1 and 14. What were they made for? Signs and a declaration of the seasons and times that we must observe, and evidently with the moon being the light that changes every single night, and if we're observing it before it is that we sleep or early in the morning that we're awake, we're able to see it ever going and ever changing, and it's not for no reason. As opposed to the sun that just shines, it rises, comes up, it's at its peak between 12 to 2 p.m., and then it sets down for the rest of the evening before going into sunset, and it shines no more. AHLAHAYANAWA said, even giving demonstration on how to follow it properly, like resting on the Sabbath, even though he doesn't need rest. Panah. So again, that last part, he hath made a decree which shall not pass. That is very important. All right, scriptural outline. This is very important. The book of Leviticus chapter 23 outlines the high holy day calendar that we are supposed to keep and have as the Israelite nation of people. Leviticus chapter 23 and verse 1 to verse 4. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, concerning the feasts of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, even these are my feasts. 6 days shall be work done, shall work be done. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of rest. Mashak, turn it down. And holy convocation. You shall do no work therein. It is the Sabbath of the Lord in all your dwellings. These are the feasts of the Lord, even holy convocations, which ye shall proclaim in their seasons. I have to say the one thing about Black and Hispanic people, the one thing that we all can agree on is that we gather when there's food. You know we're God's people because when there's food involved and included in any type of gathering we have, we're going to show up. The reason why we have to gather according to this high holy day calendar that's being outlined is because God said so. In the second bullet point, Leviticus chapter 23 is the high holy day calendar outline for the nation of Israel to keep, and more importantly, when passed down generation to generation, we are supposed to gather and come together because God said so, not because we feel like it. This calendar is a part of the commandments, therefore this isn't a choice. We are to keep these high holy days, but the calendar outlines when and how we're supposed to do so. They're supposed to be proclaimed in their seasons. Yeah, you notice the fact. Some brothers laugh to hear. You know, when God's people get together, you know it's because of food. No, we're supposed to get together because God said so. The high holy day calendar outlines us for particular times and seasons. We are supposed to come together because it is a part of the law and a part of the commandments. God doesn't want to see his people gather together because of food. We're supposed to gather together because he commanded that we do so. All right. Defining terms. Because we're not just going to read the scriptures, we're going to break this down precisely. Sign, which is H226, it is a wath. It is a sign, signal, a distinguishing mark, a banner, remembrance, miraculous sign, and omen, warning, token, ensign, standard, miracle, proof, mark, miracle, ensign, and token. Seasons. H4150, Mawa'id. Mawa'id. It is an appointed place, an appointed time, meeting, appointed time, sacred season, set feast, appointed meeting, appointed place, appointed sign or signal, a meeting, assembly, congregation, solemn set feast, appointed due season, solemnity, synagogue, a set time appointed. These seasons that are to be declared from the prior slide in Leviticus chapter 23, how do we declare these seasons? What are the signs that the nation of Israel was given? The luminaries up above, going back all the way to Genesis chapter 1 and verse 14 to verse 15. And going prior, we also need to understand that the moon sets this forth and helps us to determine and dictate the time and seasons of what month it is that we are in. The signs the Lord gave his people Israel were the luminaries, the sun, the moon, and the stars, which means they are to be observed, beheld, and looked upon to be able to tell time. The reason for this presentation is to explain and to demonstrate that within the Bible, the Hebrew Israelite nation observed and kept a lunar calendar. Is everybody following so far? Is there any confusion? Is there any comments? And is there any questions, any concerns? Let me know. What up?
What is the numbers? So you got the word and then like H226.
That's the concordance number for the word. Yep. When you look in the concordance, they're all in numbers. So H226 is the Hebrew word awath that's used in the scripture. And then seasons, H4150, that Hebrew word there would be seasons in English, but in the Hebrew it's mawa'id. And then those are the definitions for it. You got it too? Is she confused? No, you confused because you... So when you're looking up the words in the concordance, because that's in English, the Hebrew words are there, correlated to what's written down in English, but these are the roots of what the word means precisely according to the context. So you're reading seasons, you're seeing signs, but these are the deeper meanings behind it, which is why I'm explaining it with the scriptures and rooting it back into the Hebrew so that we see why we're supposed to gather. We're supposed to gather because it's an appointed time, place, congregation, assembly. When we had camp, we assembled together. We were congregated together. It was an appointed time for Israelites to come together, to do the work, to do the ministry. Hence, here as we're reading, we're supposed to come together, which is why I emphasize, because God said so. So Leviticus chapter 23 is outlining the seasons and times when Israel is supposed to gather. We are supposed to do so in the appointed times according to the seasons, which is what this Hebrew word mawa'id is here, and awath, giving us a sign and the signals which come from the luminaries, i.e. the moon. Shout out to Kawan. Kawan put Psalm chapter 81 and verse 3, blow up the trumpet in the new moon, in the time appointed on our solemn feast day. Feast day being what? A time we are supposed to gather, come together. Oh, all praises. H2282, Thawada Kawan. H2282, that is the Hebrew word chag, festival, feast, gathering, pilgrim feast, festival, sacrifice. That is also the root word name for Haggai in the Hebrew. Shout out to Kawan Thawada. The moon is like a clock. Every day it decreases when full and increases after it's new. Amram, that's exactly the point and why we're going into this lesson in class so that we understand why we have the calendar we do, but why we're keeping it that way. So again, the reason for this presentation is to explain and demonstrate that within the Bible, the Hebrew Israelite nation observed and kept a lunar calendar. Again, the emphasis is that God said so, so we are commanded and are supposed to do so. Not because we feel like it. This is not man-made. This is not something I made up or any human made up. This is from a decree set forth from the very beginning of time. All right, so now, I'm going to blow this up. I don't want to be able to see the comments. Never mind. All of you can see this. All right, the purpose of the moon. The moon has and serves a purpose. We are now going to get into the outline and the majority, I'll put most significant importance of the lunar Sabbath and why we follow after this calendar and why we keep it. The purpose of the moon. Psalm chapter 104 and verse 19. I'll read it in the KJV first. It says, He appointed the moon for seasons. The sun knoweth his going down. We just read what the word seasons was in the Hebrew, mawa'id. The moon was given in changes for appointed times and seasons. We are supposed to congregate, assemble, and gather together. Psalm chapter 104 and verse 19 in the GNT, it says, You created the moon to mark the months. The sun knows the time to set. In the CSB, it says, He made the moon to mark the festivals. The sun knows when to set. Why is that important? The new moon determines the month in the evening of when the Sabbath cycle sets in the tone for the month, being the first day of the month, because the new moon itself is a Sabbath. And in this, what the scriptures is saying is that it also is a mark and a sign of festivals. Kawan just put Psalm 81 and 3 in the chat, blow up the trumpet in the new moon, and the time appointed on our solemn feast day. Right now, we are in the 6th month. When the 7th month comes, which is the first day of the month, it will be the Feast of Trumpets, which is a new moon, the first day of the month. So what are we supposed to do? We are supposed to blow the trumpet in the new moon because it's a time appointed, being a Sabbath, when Israelites are supposed to do what? Gather and congregate together. YHWH said the moon is more important than the sun. It is, and the reason why the Lord made it a lesser light is because the Lord gave balance. The sun is the greater light because it shines brighter and is more hotter, but the sun is the lesser light, but dictates the time and the seasons and sets forth the declaration of time because it constantly changes. So from the scripture, it is evident that the moon is to be observed and followed after because it determines the months and when the festivals will take place. This is congruent with Genesis chapter 1 and verse 14, which says that the luminaries were created to be signs for seasons and a declaration of times. The luminaries were made to tell time. The first reason that states why they were created for signs. Why did the Lord do this? Because he knew his people were hard-headed and stiff-necked. What are we doing today? We don't know when to keep the Sabbath. We don't know how to keep the Sabbath. It's not right to keep the lunar Sabbath in these days and times. Well, what did we read back in Genesis 1 and 14 with all the precepts following in the previous slides? The luminaries are signs up above. Every single day we can wake up and look at them. You know why God made them? In 1 Corinthians chapter 1 and 22 here, it says, For the Jews require a sign. We're hard-headed and we're stiff-necked. So guess what God evidently did? He made things you can physically see. And guess what? You physically observing them, beholding them, and noticing them will help you understand the time frame and time period you're in. What do we always say and give the example of? If you're stranded on the island, no clock, no watch, no phone, no nothing. How would you be able to tell time? The luminaries. The sun shines every single day, and you're going to see the moon at night. And if you don't see it, it's a new moon, because then it's going to grow into a crescent, eventually grow to being full. Then it's going to wane, and then another new moon is going to come in again. If you're stranded on an island, no electronic devices, no clock, no nothing, how will you tell time? By observing and beholding the luminaries. If this is ancient time, Friday and Saturday doesn't exist. How would you know what day it was? If you just woke up randomly. How would you know? Except that you're paying attention to the luminaries he made and created up above. I'm going to read 1 Corinthians 1 and 22 again. For the Jews require a sign. What are the luminaries? Signs. A declaration of times and seasons. This means in the following the moon to determine the month and tell time and declare when the high holy days will be. The Israelites have a lunar calendar. It's that simple. It's literally that simple. Oh, Yashar, you put the precept we're about to go into. That's already in here. Yashar said, 8th the month is named after the moon. Marvelous. Oh, that's the verse. Salaki. Isaiah Magun said, the sun tells what time on the day you're in. The moon tells you what day of the week you're in. It's easy. Exactly. Exactly. Malak said they pull up the calendar app. That's not possible with no electronics. Let's start here first, right? 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and verse 46. Start from verse 45. 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and verse 45 says, upon the 4th day thou commandest that the sun should shine and the moon give her light, and the stars should be in order. Verse 46, and gavest them a charge to do service unto man that was to be made. This is why David said, why are you mindful of man? The Lord looked out for us, creating and making everything for us, and did all of the work so that we wouldn't have to do it ourselves. Why would you go out of your way to make a calendar or follow after Friday and Saturday or whatever calendar it is, when God gave you luminaries, which are signs and declarations of times, and gave you something that will ever be set forth that cannot be destroyed, because it will stand forever and ever and shine in their places, being the sun, moon, and the stars, that you can easily follow afterwards by observing and looking at them every single day. Now, this is 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and verse 46 in these 4 different translations. In the CEB, it says, you commanded them to serve the human being who was about to be formed. The next one says, and you commanded them to serve humankind about to be formed. And you commanded them to serve the human who was about to be formed. And thou didst command them to serve man who was about to be formed. I'm going to explain why Ezra said this and go furthermore into the breakdown of why he purposely said it this way. More defining terms. We need to break all this down precisely, right? Defining words is very important, so that way we're not just reading the scripture. Assembly. An assembly is gathering of persons, a group gathered for some purpose, a company of persons gathered for deliberation and legislation, worship or entertainment. The process of coming together or the state of being together. Congregation, gathering, assembly, a crowd, organized group, as of a religious order or body of scholars, an act of congregating, a group of people assembled for religious worship. The assembly of persons met for religious instruction. The word shine, because the previous scripture said they're supposed to shine and praise him in their places. Shine is to shed, send forth, or to give out light. To be radiant, be resplendent, illuminate, to emit rays of light. It is to be bright by reflection of light. To be eminent, conspicuous, or distinguished. to perform extremely well, or have a bright glowing appearance, and to be conspicuously evident or clear. What do the luminaries do in place every single day? They shine. They illuminate and give forth their light. Why? Because they are serving the purpose of mankind so that every single day we may see. All of you at night, when you shut off the lights, imagine that there's no sun or moon and no luminaries in the heavens. We wouldn't all be here because there's no reason for them to be here and exist, or for us to be here and exist, if we don't have anything that will help us on a day-to-day basis to see, which is why God made them. God is simply putting in terms through these scriptures, they were made and created because they are tied to the existence of all human life. The last word, service, because Ezra said they were to give service and to be of service to man. So what are the moon and the luminaries supposed to do? They are to be given assistance, help, a helpful act, labor that is performed or undertaken for another, contribution to the welfare of others, disposal for use, to repair or provide maintenance, the organized system of apparatus, appliances, employees, for supplying accommodation required by the public. The luminaries accommodate us because they serve us, giving us light every single day. That is why Ezra said they were made for the service of man. They were made for our purpose and sake, so that we may have light every single day, because as the decree that the Lord had set forth, they are made to serve us so that we may go about our daily business, working, resting, doing our activities, so on and so forth. Yes, Michael, we are actually teaching the lunar calendar. You can read the title of the lesson. More scriptural doctrine. Shout out to the brothers that put the precept inside the chat. Sirach chapter 43 and verse 7. Sirach chapter 43 and verse 7 says, from the moon is a sign of feast. We went into that word sign, being awath. Feast, we know what feast is. Mawa'id, appointed time, appointed place. When we're supposed to congregate and gather together. So, Barack, can you go over that breakdown? As I'm a gun in the future class, in the future class. This class tonight is leading up to that, so I'm gonna keep that in mind. I'm not gonna forget that. And I want to emphasize, going back to Sirach 43 and 7 again. From the moon is a sign of feast. So two words that have been used in Genesis and Leviticus 23. We know what sign and we know what feast is. Signs, signals, marks, tokens, omens, so on and so forth. Feast. Times appointed. A particular time we are supposed to congregate, assemble, and gather together. I went into the words prior in the previous slide so that we understand the words that are being used and what they mean. Because we're not just going to read the scripture plain and simple and then not go into the definitions of what it is that what's being said here within the context. We need to clear and concisely understand. Is it not a year the time it takes the earth to go around the sun? Even if it is, the sun rises and comes up every single day. I don't see what the point is in you asking that. All right, so Sirach 43 and 7 aside the other translations, right? All right. In the CEB, I had put the picture up. I didn't want to outline it within noting it down. This is easier for everyone to just follow along. The sign for a feast comes from the moon, a luminous body that wanes when it completes its course. A lot of people mistake this and read this and think that the full moon is the new moon. Any one of you can go on your phones and go on Google and see all the phases of the moon. No light in the sky versus a big ball bright in the sky that's completely full are two different lights. They are two different lights. Michael, we're going into the breakdown of the lunar Sabbath doctrine. Genesis 1 and 14 emphasizes with the very beginning, from the very beginning, we count them by the luminaries up above. Again, the sign for a feast comes from the moon, a luminous body that wanes when it completes its course. What the scripture is emphasizing and explaining is that when the moon is full, it wanes, meaning it decreases and goes back down to a half crescent, which would be the final or last crescent as it's called in the phases, back to the new moon again. From the moon is a sign of the festival day, a light that decreaseth in her perfection. The moon determines the holy days. Its light grows full and then grows dim. By it we know the sacred seasons and pilgrimage feast, a light which wanes in its course. From the moon we are able to calculate when feast days are to be observed. Its light wanes when the course has been completed. Plain and simple. Kawan put Psalms 81:3 also makes a distinction between the full moon and the new moon. Absolutely, it does. The water for that. Psalms 81:3 is not talking about the full moon; it's talking about the new moon. And in future context, the water Kawan for explaining that. It furthermore goes on to explain Passover, because Passover, being the Feast of Unleavened Bread, synonymous with the Feast of Unleavened Bread. You're blowing the trumpet to bring in the Feast of Unleavened Bread, because it is the announcement and the warning, a signal to the people, we're keeping AHLAHAYANAWA. Is that understood? Is that clear for everyone? Isaiah said, exactly, Kawan Khan. The full moon is in the feast. Isaiah Magan, I heard someone teach the crest moon is the new moon. If everything starts and begins from darkness, the first sliver that you see in the sky is not the is not the new moon. New being brand new and fresh is not the crescent. It's when there's no new moon. It's when there's no moon in the sky. The reason for that is because the word new moon being Kadash means first day of the month. It means you're repairing. The moon is repairing itself. If the moon is new, it wouldn't be in the state of repairing until afterwards, which means the new moon is when there's no moon in the sky. The crest moon, when you see the sliver, means that the new moon has ended and now it's beginning its phases to grow again, become full, wane again, and go back to the new moon. Exactly, as Kawan put, refresh. The moon refreshes itself by becoming new, being, i.e., no light, no luminary in the sky, and then becomes the crescent to grow and wax, to become full, wane again, and then conclude. Next slide. It is not hard. Please do not confuse that. The crescent moon is not the new moon. The new moon is no light in the sky. The fresh sliver that comes afterwards would be the second or third day following. All it means is that the new moon has passed by. The month is starting over again. All right. Sirach chapter 43 and verse 8. Definitely was not going to forget the next verse. In the Apocrypha, it says, the month is called after her name, increasing wonderfully in her changing, being an instrument of the armies above, shining in the firmament of heaven. So when it says increasing wonderfully in her changing, this is talking about the growing, waxing phases of the moon. This is meaning when it grows and it becomes and goes on to become full. Because everybody can notice the full moon. Everybody knows the big ball and the bright light inside the sky when it's full. So it says, in the translations, the new moon shares the character of its name, increasing wonderfully as it changes, which is why it grows into the sliver. It grows into that crescent that we all see. A signal on high for armies shining in the vault of the sky. The month is called after her name, increasing wonderfully in her perfection. The month is named after the moon, marvelous to watch as it grows fuller each night. The next one says, the new moon, like its name, renews itself. And then the last one, which I very much find interesting, it says, month derives its name from the moon. It waxes wondrously as its phases change. It is a beacon to the host on high, shining in the vault of the heavens. All right. This was the first half of the presentation pertaining to the moon, the luminaries, and the breakdown of why we have a lunar Sabbath and why we follow and keep this calendar the way we do. From Genesis 1 and 14 to Leviticus 23, Psalms chapter 8, Psalms 148 and verse 3 to verse 6, so on and so forth. And the water took a one for putting Psalms 81 and 3 in the chat. Is it clear and understood why we have a lunar calendar? Put a 1 in the chat if you understand and you're following along with the lesson so far so that we're all on the same page. Is it clear why we have a lunar calendar and why we have a lunar Sabbath? All right. Zaquan. Kashak said I do have a question. Kashak, what's your question out before we move forward? Kashak, before we move forward, what is your question? Sis, did you have any questions? Did she have any questions? Did she go? How is the calculation made during inclement weather? Yeah, Zaquan. What do you mean inclement weather? Do you mean like when it's snowing, or do you mean like how is the calendar determined in the winter months, so like the fall months? Oh, like when we can't see the sky. Even if you can't see the sky, that doesn't. Let's say, like, they of course, this government, the Lord said our skies will be as iron and as brass in Deuteronomy. They spray chemtrails in the sky and then it grays out the sky. Even when the sun's grayed out, even if the moon, it is cloudy at night at times, early in the morning. Even if you can't see the moon, you can still look up within multiple different ways, apps, to see and determine when the new moon for the month is, which still sets forth when the Sabbath day is for that month. For example, last Wednesday, I believe all last week over here in New England, it was sunny. The new moon fell on Wednesday sundown. So now we have a Wednesday sundown to Thursday sundown Sabbath. Even with whatever the weather is for whatever weeks go on or go by, that doesn't change the fact that Wednesday to Thursday sundown is the Sabbath. Why is it that other camps keep the lunar Sabbath calendar is different than ours for feast day? It may just be how they calculate it, Yashar, and it may be, a day off, a day forward. You know what I'm saying? Even if it is different, the way we calculate it here, even if they're keeping the lunar, I salute them for it because they're still keeping it the proper way according to Scripture as we're supposed to be. So irregardless, sometimes it may change, but, for the most part, it does line up pretty much with the fact that if they have a lunar calendar, it may be similar to ours and vice versa. But Kashad, no matter what the weather is, so on and so forth, that's why I gave the precept prior and earlier. It doesn't ever stop the fact that the sun and the luminaries up above will determine the signs and times. And no matter how much Esau tries to spray out the sky, you're not ever going to not be able to know and determine, when the new moon is. Brothers are being funny in the chat. We have technology now, and of course through the apps, Esau is wicked because if you can predict the weather and let us know when it's going to be sunny outside, and then it's going to rain, so on and so forth. It's definitely evil in itself that's even capable of happening. Shar asked, how does second Nadar play into this? This is going to go into the next couple of slides we have, because I'm going to show not just why we have a lunar Sabbath, but we're not the only people that had a lunar Sabbath. A second Nadar. Okay. In the Gregorian calendar, everyone knows what leap years are, right? Every 4 years there's a leap year, which means the day is added into the Gregorian calendar is a solar calendar. The lunar day calendar is technically 354 to 360 days a year. The reason for that is because the moon is ever going and ever changing. We have a lunar calendar. The Gregorian calendar being switched from Pope Gregory the 13th being instituted throughout the world. We've gone into this in the prior classes with the previous presentations I've gone into. In 1582, when Pope Gregory the 13th instituted the Gregorian calendar, it was introduced as a solar predominant calendar, meaning it was based off the calculations of the sun, which means it is a 365-day calendar as opposed to our 354-day lunar calendar. So a solar calendar is 11 days ahead, which means they fast-forwarded the time and it didn't move backwards. So I believe in the Gregorian calendar in 1582, when they made the switch, everyone went to sleep on October 4th, and the next day everybody woke up on October 11th. So there's 7 to 8 days missing within the Gregorian calendar. Kashak, I recommend newmoon.org. There's the Moon app itself, and also the Deluxe Moon app. Would you say that we just follow what we follow is a lunar solar calendar or just lunar? Yashar, I'd say we'd follow a lunar predominant calendar, but we are dependent on the sun only because the sun just rises for the day. The sun only serves its purpose for rising every single day, and that's really just it. We follow a predominant lunar calendar because the moon determines the months of the year and when and how we keep our holy days. So I would say lunar because the moon determines our calendar every single year. The sun just rises, it comes up and it sets, and that's just it. But back to the point and the reason why I'm explaining all this. Leap years occur so that holidays are kept and tracked every single year as this calendar keeps its holidays. Valentine's Day, Veterans Day, Columbus Day, 4th of July, so on and so forth, so that it occurs in its proper seasons, right? Just like how we have in our calendar, we have what was supposed to be the first month corresponding to March and April, second month, April to May, third month, May to June, so on and so forth. That's why in the original calendar, going into the breakdown with the previous classes, I had broken down before January and February were added, the original months of the year, September, October, November, December, 7, 8, 9, and 10. They are now out of place because January and February being added, being the months 1 and 2 of the year, they're now out of place because Esau, with his man-made calendar, instituted it in the 8th century BC, that is. So here's why I say this. Every 4 years, roughly, within this solar predominant calendar, there is a leap year, which means an extra day is added in February, giving you February 29th. I also went into history and showed that I believe it was Sweden in the year 1712 had a February 30th, which shows why the solar predominant Gregorian calendar is off, because everybody miscalculated everything when they made the switch to the Gregorian calendar in the late 1500s. So, to answer Yashar's question, the reason why I don't want to be too long-winded with this, but why I'm explaining it this way, he asks, how does second Adar play into this? What's known historically as intercalary months, which means in between the calendar or inside the calendar, a 13th month or 13th new moon is added within the calendar to keep the calendar in check. If a 13th month being a second Adar within our calendar is not added into the calendar, that means the dates will be pushed back. So whereas Passover happening within the spring, if we didn't have second Adar or a 13th new moon, we would be keeping Passover in January to February. We would be having the Day of Atonement in June or July. Feast of Dedication, which is supposed to be November to December time, and possibly September or October, which is fall or the autumn season. That's not correct. That's not where the high holy days are supposed to be falling. So because we have to keep the calendar in check, no, it's not biblically recorded, but God does not have to tell you how to do everything and how to go about everything. You have to have what we would call a leap year in this year's calendar. We would have to have in our own calendar, have to have an intercalary month to have a 13th month or 13th new moon inside our calendar so that we are able to keep our high holy days in check. Does that make sense? Just as they have their leap year inside this calendar, we have ours every 3 to 4 years because we have a lunar calendar being predominantly based on the moon, that we have our leap year, or which is called in more factual terms, an intercalary month, which means a 13th new moon is added so that we may keep our calendar in check. Is that clear for everyone? You following? You start the water for asking that, because those kind of questions make it clear for everyone else. Again, he also did ask, is that we follow a lunar solar calendar. We keep a lunar calendar, not a solar one, because our calendar is not based on the sun, it's based off of the moon, which is why all of the prior and previous slides and scriptures and everything we've defined within the terms all explain. The month determines the moon. The moon determines the month. The new moon establishes the Sabbath cycle for the month, and it also establishes our high holy days. That is why feast, signs, declaration of the times are determined by the luminaries. Ours biblically just happens to be based and precedented off of the moon. All right. With that being said, now I've just explained why in this portion of the lesson, why we have and keep a lunar calendar. I'm going to show you all we're not the only people that did. Historical and international evidence of lunar calendars. Why international? Because the Israelites were not the only people that had and kept a lunar calendar. This is ancient Greece. What all of you see here is an ancient artifact that was a computer, a clock ring, if you will. This device is called the Let me get it. The Antikythera mechanism. I'll go back really quick. The Antikythera mechanism. This next slide is about to explain what it is. Please pay in these last slides, as we did with all of the previous and prior ones. We know why we have a lunar Sabbath. We know why we keep it. We know how the moon is very important to our calendar and why we have a lunar calendar. We are now going to get into the Israelites not being the only people that had a lunar calendar. This device here is called the Antikythera mechanism. Recent research has unveiled that the Antikythera mechanism, an ancient device often hailed as the world's oldest known computer, traced the Greek lunar calendar rather than the Egyptian solar calendar as previously thought. So our oppressors that Hellenized us and forced on us their ways and customs also had a lunar calendar. The Antikythera mechanism, discovered in 1901 by sponge divers exploring a sunken shipwreck of the Greek island of Antikythera, dates back approximately 2,200 years. This shoebox-sized device, constructed of intricate bronze gears, was used to model the motions of the sun, moon, and planets. Over decades, researchers have determined that the mechanism functioned as a hand-operated mechanical computer, allowing users to predict eclipses and calculate astronomical positions with remarkable accuracy for its time. A key component of the Antikythera mechanism is the calendar ring, used to track the days of the year, with each hole representing a single day. However, the ring is only partially preserved, making it difficult to determine the exact number of days it was meant to track. So notice we're not the only people that had a reason for tracking days. And not only just that, they're doing exactly what it was created for, going all the way back to Genesis. Right, Kawan? Well. In 2020, independent researcher Chris, in 2020, I put that twice a lot, Chris Budazik and his team utilized new X-ray images and mathematical analysis to propose that the calendaring likely tracked a 354-day lunar calendar rather than a full solar year. This finding has now been corroborated by a team from the University of Glasgow. So it's interesting that we have Israelites out there that say we don't have a lunar calendar. But interestingly enough, the very people that Hellenized us and forced on us their customs had this computer device to track the luminaries that they themselves were also keeping a lunar calendar. Next slide. Assyrians in the lunar calendar. Another one of our oppressors, and not just our oppressors, they also come of the Shemitic line, just as the Israelite nation and people do. Lunar month and half month. The old Assyrian months. The old Assyrian lunisolar calendar consisted of 12 months of 29 or 30 days, with the insertion of intercalary months some years. Again, going back to the question Yashar asked, they had leap years as well, or that would be for the solar calendar, but this is what it's called within lunar calendars, an intercalary month. Month names are attested in the date formula of loan contracts. In some instances, the term of the loan is computed in months. Half month and phases of the month. The old Assyrian loan contracts involving Assyrians sometimes make use of dates based on the observation of the moon. The month was made of 29 or 30 days. And the first day of the month corresponded presumably to the first visibility of the new moon. According to K.R. Veenhoff, datings by month would implicitly refer to the first day of the month. How often are leap years inserted? Yashar, every 3 to 4 years. Every 3 to 4 years. So far, the Greeks and the Assyrians, both of our oppressors, had and kept lunar calendars. Let's see who else. Babylonians in the lunar calendar. We went into captivity there, and they're also our oppressors. The Babylonians developed a 360-day year divided into 12 lunar months of 30 days. Real lunar months are 29 and a half days. Devised by the Sumerians and introduced the 7-day week corresponding to the 4 waning and waxing periods of the lunar cycle. The ancient Egyptians adopted the 12-month system to their calendar. The ancient Hindu, Chinese, and Egyptian all used 365-day calendars. The Babylonians stuck stubbornly to the lunar calendar. To define the year, even though the 12 lunar months did not equal 1 year. In 432 BC, the Greeks introduced the so-called Metonic cycle, in which every 19 years, 7 of the years had 13 months, and 12 years had 12 months. These kept the seasons in sync with the year, and roughly kept the days and months of the Metonic year in sync with those on the lunar calendar. The Metonic calendar was too complicated for everyday use and used mostly by astronomers. So we have 3 so far that kept the lunar calendar. Let's keep going. China and the lunar calendar. How would the breakdown of the half day and the 29 half days? All right. So different Israelite, before I continue this, different Israelite groups may all break this down differently. Here's precisely and simply what this is. This month, the lunar Sabbath cycle is on Wednesday to Thursday sundown. You good, Up? You good? I appreciate the questions. Wednesday sundown to Thursday sundown is the current Sabbath cycle for this month. Thursday sundown is when the Sabbath ends, according to the Sabbath cycle of this month. Listen closely. There's 29 days in the month. If the next month, on Thursday sundown, the new cycle begins with the old one ending. So, right now our current cycle is Wednesday sundown to Thursday sundown. If the next month, the new month, begins on Thursday sundown, that is 29 days in the month. This is why I told you to listen. Wednesday to Thursday sundown is our Sabbath cycle for this month. If the new month, the new Sabbath cycle, comes in on Thursday sundown, that's 29 days. Because on the same night the previous cycle ended, the new Sabbath cycle begins with the establishment of the new month. Is everyone following? If, because every month is different, the moon shines in this place as the Lord commanded it to. If the new month, keep in mind, Thursday sundown, the previous cycle, the Sabbath ends. If the new month comes in on Friday sundown instead of Thursday sundown, that's 30 days. Is that clear? If it doesn't start, if the new month does not start on the day the previous Sabbath cycle ended, and the next day at even, that would be the start of the new month, being the coming in of the new moon, which gives you 30 days. So it's not a full day because the new moon takes up the other half of that day. Yashar, not precisely. The reason why it's halved is because they're trying to particularly calculate the time, which is why they round it and estimate it off by that half percentage, saying it's a half, it's maybe 0.46. It's either 29 or 30 up. So again, with what you had asked, if Thursday sundown for the new month, the Sabbath the new month does not come in on Thursday sundown, and it skips over to Friday sundown, that's 30 days. And that Friday sundown will be the beginning of the new month. Does everyone understand? But if it started on Thursday sundown when the previous cycle ended, that is 29 days, which is why the Sabbath or the lunar calendar numbers at 354 days, because it's 29 or 30 days in a month. But every 3 to 4 years, which is why you have to have what we call in the solar calendar or the Gregorian calendar a leap year, we have to have an intercalary month inside the lunar calendar, is because not every single month has 29 or 30 days. It can range back and forth because the new moon can come in on the same night the previous cycle ended, or it can come in on the next night instead of the previous night. Is that understood? So again, following the moon is kind of, yep. Come. That's why you shout out the water for the questions. If anyone in the chat needs for it to be properly explained, let me know, because that's why in this slide particularly, it says the cycle of each moon is about 29.5 days. The reason why it's rounding off is because, or 30 days in the month. It does not mean, oh, that's a transitional day. 29 days in the month, or there's 30. All you're doing is following the moon. And I want precisely and clearly how and, why we're following the moon. Might have had an Android mistake there, Salakia. All right. It's lagging? Sabbath cycle. China. The origins of marking and tracking time in ancient China dates back to over 4,000. Lunar calendar was conceived through ancient observation and exploration of the relationship between the Gregorian calendar, used for celebrations and more traditional events, just like ours is with Leviticus chapter 23. They're not with their lunar calendar. The Chinese created of the moon to help them harvest, being the Feast of Pentecost, and we also have in the 7th month the Feast of, and ends on the full moon. The new moon, the full moon come in 15 days later. The tabernacle, right, with lantern displays and children carrying lanterns in a parade. Days long. There are 12 months in the lunar calendar. India, Elam. To be far ahead in terms of acumen, it is noted that a special class or stargazers meticulously observed the method of calculation and its precision. I don't know what the issue here is, all up to par. I don't know what the issue is. Continue to just push through, but the moon, more accurately, a synodic month, will orbit once around the Earth and past. Japan's relationship with time began with the lunisolar calendar. Cycles of the moon, with each integral to agriculture and social act, often required adjustments. The harvest seasons were all guided by, and that is exactly what we are to have now, and made for us to observe and follow after. Another witness, Saudi Arabia and the lunar Sabbath. The and used by Saudi Arabia to determine dates and months on the lunar cycle or phases of the moon. The months start with the beginning of and the end of the month is observed when the lunar cycle is ended. The lunar cycle refers to the revolution of the moon around the Earth. The moon completes its revolution around the Earth in approximately 29 or 30 days. Hence, a lunar month in the al-Qura calendar or other Islamic lunar calendars consists of 29 or 30 days. Again, which is why I explained earlier from Yashar, if a new moon comes in on the same evening, the same sun, that's why it says 29 or 30 days. Some things that you will read, a previous cycle ends, or the 29th day of lunar months. If a new moon is sighted, it will mark the beginning of the next lunar month. If a new month is not sighted on the 29th, the 30th day will begin. So the 29th of Isaiah 66 and 23 says from new moon to new moon. New month ends the month. Within what had to make the switch over, but people like China, and as we're reading here, Saudi Arabia still have their lunar calendars for their holidays and traditional events that they have and keep. Traditional days and events that they have, harvesting, festivals, so on and so forth, precepts inside when you're supposed to have and keep your festivals. Solar calendar, which was first brought to Romans who copied their solar calendar from the Egyptians, the Eurasian peoples all kept lunisolar calendars. The lunisolar calendar has 12 lunar months. The new moon in the sky shows the Germanic peoples their month or moon, and uses the winter solstice to determine when a 13th month would be added to the year. Going back to Yashar's question. Bede, an English monk who wrote in the year 725 CE, when, however, an embolism occurred, that is, the year of the 13th lunar moons, they added the extra month to the summer. The Germanic Scandinavian calendars were lunisolar, the months corresponding to lunar cycles. The word month means cycle of the moon in all Germanic and Scandinavian languages. Even in modern English, descended from Old English, the word month means lunar cycle. That's clear. That's clear. Continuing. Germany and the lunar Sabbath. The Roman historian Tacitus writes in the Germania in chapter 11, around 98 BCE AD, that the Germanic peoples observed the lunar months. He wrote, quote, the community gathers if nothing unusual or sudden happens at certain times when the moon is new or full, because they consider that this is the luckiest beginning to discuss matters. In the full moon, just like the Israelites did. The Royal Magdalene tomb at Magdalenburg near Schwenningen in Germany's grave in Central Europe, measuring at 320 feet across and originally 26 feet and originally 26 feet high, and its central grave was robbed in antiquity. More recent excavations have recovered the location of numerous secondary burials placed around the edges of the mound and of various timber structures, including rows of wooden posts. Using NASA software, Dr. Mies has discovered that there is nothing random about the secondary graves, which might be those of relatives or retainers, buried as they died during the years that followed their leader's funeral. The order of the burials around the central royal tomb fits exactly the pattern of the constellation visible in the northern hemisphere at midsummer in 618 BC, while the timber alignments mark the position not of the sunrise and sunset, but of the moon, and notably the lunar standstill. Dr. Mies said at Magdalenburg was, quote, the earliest and most complete example of a Celtic calendar focused on the moon, and that following Caesar's conquest of Gaul, Gallic culture was destroyed, and these types of calendars were completely forgotten in Europe to be replaced by the Roman sun-based calendar. All right. And the last slide, these were all the sources. All right. With that being said and stated, with everything being established here with the presentation tonight, is it clear and is it understood that the Hebrew Israelite nation of people hadn't kept a lunar Sabbath? Do we understand those inside the classroom and those inside the chat? This is just another class within the series because I do have more I'm going to go into, especially pertaining to more archaeological evidence. And I want to make clear that Israelites didn't keep and have Friday to Saturday. It was not keeping Friday to Saturday as a Sabbath. There's a reason why we have the luminaries we do, and there's a reason why God had made and created them. And evidently, the Israelite nation were not the only people within antiquity having and keeping. Peoples that oppressed us, like the Assyrians, the Greeks. So let's see, we have Greece, Assyria, Japan. Anyone need furthermore clarification? Be added, or it's a second Adar known within the second Adar. So in this past year, there was one. So within the years corresponding to 2027 to 2028, if that happens again, there will be a second Adar. So if Passover is pushed back way too deep inside of February or occurs within that range of time, because those are the months, or the leftover last months of winter, as it's supposed to be, in the dark. Because Passover is not inside winter or the dead of winter, it's inside spring. Of course, the weather is off now because of Esau and his evil devices and chemtrails, so on and so forth. Order. We're not living back home where everything was in order as it's supposed to be through the seasons. But the months corresponding to March and April is when Passover, or the first month, is supposed to begin. And around the range of season, we're supposed to have Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread. So, again, Aliyah is all praises. Is there any questions, comments, concerns anyone has pertaining to this doctrine? Because the further classes I'm going to bring out, I'm going to be on the board, and I'm going to show everyone live how the days are calculated and how we transition through the days so that everybody can see how it actually works. God, Esau got heart messing up the season. Yeah, exactly. We can't even rightfully enjoy the seasons. We can't even rightfully enjoy and call in the proper seasons because the earth is entirely out of order. Is there anything else anybody wants to add? Everybody has the tools that they need. Hebrew that was brought out, why we keep, because he commanded us to be so. You know, we had brought out Deuteronomy 16:16 for the Feast of Pentecost, and 3 times it says we're supposed to appear to the Lord in the year. Well, that's something that we're supposed to not just do because we feel like it. We're supposed to do it because God said so. The Most High himself commanding that is the reason why it's most important that we are to do and keep these things, because he commanded us. I also want to add in, from the book of Exodus all the way to Deuteronomy, Friday and Saturday are not mentioned or listed. All right. Madhyam Mapanyam Akadam. This is Psalm chapter 129. Many a time have they afflicted me from my youth, may Israel now say. Many a time have they afflicted me from my youth, yet they have not prevailed against me. The plowers plowed upon my back, they made long their furrows. The Lord is righteous, he hath cut asunder the cords of the wicked. Let them all be confounded and turn back that hate Zion. Let them be as the grass upon the housetops, which withereth afore it groweth up, wherewith the mower filleth not his hand, nor he that bindeth sheaves his bosom. Neither do they which go by say, the blessing of the Lord be upon you. We bless you in the name of the Lord. In the name of Yahweh, Bahasham, YHWH, the water, the Yad, Aman. Yahweh Hashem, Yahshua, Barakatan.